Good Shepherd Library in Inwood, New York City. Welcome to Inwood Art Works on Air. It's where we meet the musicians, filmmakers, writers, theater makers, and artists of all stripes who make their home what we affectionately call upstate Manhattan. I'm your host, Aaron Sims, and today we welcome local musician Lou Bruno. Lou has worked as a professional bass player since the early 1960s, playing with both commercial and jazz groups. He's performed with jazz legends John Mehegan, Dill Jones, Zoot Sims, Carmen Leggio, Toots Thielmans, and Bucky Pizzarelli, amongst others. He attended the Manhattan School of Music, where he received both his bachelor's and master's degrees, and went on to be a member of the Buffalo Philharmonic for 4 seasons, to study then with Ludwig Streicher at the Vienna Hochschule for Music. Since returning in New York City in the late 1970s, he has been a member of the Brooklyn Philharmonic, the American Symphony Orchestra, the New York Pops, and many Broadway pits, including A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, End of the Rainbow, Guys and Dolls, and Elaine Stritch's band for 11 years for her one-woman show, Elaine Stritch at Liberty, and of course her nightclub appearances at the Carlisle Hotel, which also included a 2012 documentary film about her entitled Shoot Me. We're going to talk to him about his work and so much more. But first, let's listen to a track featuring Lou as part of the Bridgeport Jazz Trio.
That old devastating
What a way to start an episode. Lou, welcome to Inwood Art Works On Air. It's great to see you.
Thank you. It's great to see you too, and it's great to be in uptown Manhattan.
That's right. Where we
There's only one place like Inwood, and it's a great place to live, work, and great neighbors.
Absolutely.
And parks, of course.
Beautiful
too. Parks.
Yeah. How long have you been here for?
Since 2011.
Yeah. It's a good place to be, man. Well, I always love catching you on the street and hearing about your latest and greatest gigs.
Likewise.
And you've played all over, from Broadway to international gigs, and I feel like each of those could have their own podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to highlight the selection we just listened to earlier, which was from a gig by one of your many outfits, the Bridgeport Jazz Trio, playing Green Dolphin Street, which is, I would say, I did a little research on this one. It's a title track from 1947 American historical drama disaster film, if you didn't know it, directed by Victor Seville, featuring Lana Turner, Van Helflin, and do you remember the woman?
Don't.
Donna Reed.
Donna Reed. Wow, that's
yeah.
amazing.
But this live recording is taken straight from your Jazz at the Movies concert, right?
Correct. Yes, done up at the Stissing Center in Pine Plains, New York, about a year and a half ago, where we showed clips from these movies of how they appeared in movies, not as jazz songs, but sometimes very corny songs in film, and how jazz musicians over the decades have turned them into jazz standards with unlimited interpretations of these songs. Great songs. So we showed clips of the movies as it appeared in the movie, and then we played the songs as jazz songs. I think we did about 11 or 12 clips and songs.
Yeah. We weren't able to show the clips, but for those who were there on October 14th, 2022, we did a version of it here,
Correct.
Just the music at the Good Shepherd Church here. We presented you all featuring, I was going to say, vocalist Nancy Allen Lundy.
Right.
John Austria was on piano, and Rich Rosenwig on drums. Rosenzweig.
On drums.
My German's so bad. And of course, you on bass.
And on bass.
And Green Dolphin Street, I believe, kicked it off. I think that's the first track,
I think it was, yeah. And that, of course, comes from the movie by the same name, the same title. And I don't think the movie was much of a success, actually. I read that quite a long time ago. Sort of a forgotten film, but the song became an enormous hit.
Yeah.
So over the years.
Yeah. How did you put together those corny tracks? Were you in charge, or did you guys do it together? How did it
Bob
come
Wasson
together?
and I, who was originally with the trio and on our CD, he and I put them together. We put them in a PowerPoint program, and had to do a little bit of editing.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff is on YouTube. You have the rights to it if you
Sure. But it's nice to choose those tracks and get them used,
And the PowerPoint program helped great because it was run by someone in the back of the Stissing Center, wirelessly, I believe he did it, and on a big screen. So it was very nice. The tracks.
We'll try to do the picture version sometime.
I wish we could. I think it was a big hit. The audiences loved it because it gave them something to hang their hat on.
Right.
Where did these? A lot of people know the songs,
right,
but they don't know the origin,
right,
of the songs.
Yeah.
Some are comedies, some are dramas, very serious films, and
we'll have to figure out. We'll have to get a venue with the screen, and
that would be great. Yeah,
exactly. But it was a great story that bookends the history of the Bridgeport Jazz Trio. Do you want to tell that story about how you all came together? And
sure, we originally came together in high school, and that's a long time ago. Albert Montecalvo and Bob Wasson. And we played a lot together in bands in high school. When high school ended, we virtually lost track of each other for decades, maybe 30 years or so. Bob, I found out through a friend, it would be a longer story than we have time here for, but that Bob was teaching up at Eastman School of Music for 30 years, I think he was there. So I was able to hook up with Bob, and then I was doing the revival of Wonderful Town on Broadway, and Albert, our drummer, was at the show one night, and he saw my name in the program, and he came to the stage door to meet me. What a surprise. It was just, and then from there, we decided, okay, why don't we revive our group and see where it goes? And we started playing together again. And we worked out arrangements for songs, and it was a lot of fun, and led to our CD that we did called Out of the Past, which has
Great
a
disc.
A backstory too. So
Yeah.
so,
That was like maybe 4 years ago or so, 4 or 5 years ago.
5, 6 years ago, maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah. I own a copy. I suggest you do too, guys. It's wonderful. And so we had. So I love that story of 30 years later, here you are cutting your first album.
Completely by accident.
I know.
Just
It's
it
great.
would have never have happened had it been for
I love it.
A couple of friends from not related to any of this.
Yeah.
Who brought it to my attention.
Well, and it's funny how you all kind of kept up the music thing too, which is rare for when you play in high school. It's like Lord knows where your life's going to take you at that point. You're all teenagers, so
you don't know.
You have no idea, and you all stuck with it, which is pretty amazing. And wasn't one of your first comeback gigs our Filmworks al fresco outside?
That's true.
You
right?
played before one of our. We literally played in front of a screen.
That's true.
Before
Yes.
one of our films.
Yeah.
Out in the Inwood Art Park, and so it was great to have you all out there.
Yeah, it was wonderful with Ken doing the sound, which was fabulous, and it was a lot of fun.
Like from 2018 or so,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
We did 2 of them actually.
Yeah, you guys, 2017, 18, I think we did both of those, or at 19, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, you're an uptown guy just like me, and you came from somewhere else and decided to make your artistic home here in Inwood. We said earlier, it's like Inwood's just a wonderful place to be, and what is it about this community that makes you want to live and create here?
Well, at first I had no idea what Inwood was even like until we came up here and start looking around and just fell in love with the community, the vibe of the place. And then, of course, I began to run into a lot of colleagues of mine who I had no idea that they've lived here, and that was interesting too. And then met you, and saw the wonderful work that you're doing with Inwood Art Works, and it's just fantastic, and it's a great place to live. It sort of almost reminds me of the old Greenwich Village from years back, that has where there was so much going on, artistically, musically, and maybe this is the new Greenwich Village. I don't know, but
or maybe just the old Inwood. But
Inwood,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean the history of Inwood, as you well know, goes back to the silent movie era.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of history lessons. The first actual motion picture was shot in Washington Heights.
There you go.
A very tiny film of a gentleman recording his daughters dancing in a garden. And you can look it up, folks. But it's a full of rich history, and like you're saying too, I was thinking of when you were talking about finding colleagues who worked and lived up here. I remember when I first moved up here, you'd ride home on the subway, at a certain time of night, with you're talking about coming home from like Wonderful Town or one of your gigs with Lane Stritch, whatever, and you're just like, okay, well. You see, look like okay, that guy has a trombone case. That guy has it's hard to miss a guy with an upright bass.
And with a bass,
very
difficult not to spot.
Lots of guitar cases, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like, and you see the the 190th stop and the Dykeman and the
And often they're getting out at the same stop.
and they're often getting off exactly. And
out.
you're kind of like, hey, do you live here? Yeah. What? And you see the show jacket. Oh, you're in Wonderful Town. Yeah. I'm subbing in there, and you strike up. And I feel like that's the kind of neighborhood it is, like a very friendly,
Very friendly neighborhood.
Collaborative and inclusive, like
Very family oriented.
community with a capital C. It's like people want to know each other, unlike perhaps some neighborhoods. Which
That's a very good point, because
averting your eyes.
it is that type of community. It has a real neighborhood feel to it.
Yeah.
And you start to recognize your neighbors, even if you don't know their names. You know that you see them all the time in the park, and very friendly people up here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we always have, you've done a lot of different things and a lot of different iterations. And you also, like I said, I alluded to in your bio, like you've done stuff with the American Symphony Orchestra. And it's like you have a steady summer gig. You go up to Bard a lot.
That's correct.
With a lot of our other colleagues here in the neighborhood. And so you have a lot of established gigs up there, and also you play in Bryant Park as well.
Right. American Symphony has a series during the summer, free concerts at Bryant Park. And we started a couple of years ago, American Symphony Orchestra Jazz Quintet. So we play at Bryant Park every May, about the last 3 years. There'll be another one, double concert this May. And if you go to the American Symphony website, there's actually videos of a lot of American Symphony things. Classical and our jazz group is on that from a concert, I think, in 2022.
I wonder if we can get the American Symphony Orchestra to partner with Inwood Art Works and have you guys up here in the park.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because I was actually thinking of that this morning when I was thinking about what I might say about some of these.
Well, why not, right? I mean, these people in Bryant Park, they got enough culture down there, and nothing against the good folks on 42nd Street, but you can still do that. But maybe throw us a bone up here, do a concert or two up here.
And the thing is that all of these concerts are curated, or whatever the word might be, by musicians. The chamber concerts I'm talking about, not the big orchestra concerts,
of course.
But it's very similar to what you do.
Well, maybe you can introduce me who's organizing this, and we can,
Absolutely.
maybe we can co-present it or something like that.
That would be fantastic.
Not to steal the thunder. I don't think the American Symphony Orchestra has anything to worry about in Inwood Art Works.
No. We're doing a concert, in March at Carnegie. We're doing Arnold Schoenberg's masterpiece called Girl Eater. And it's March, I forget, 10th or something like that. I'm not positive the date. But it's 150 musicians on stage.
Yeah, it's a little beyond our budget.
Oh, well,
but
I think it's beyond about anybody.
I don't think we can do 15 musicians, let alone 150.
But 150 and a large chorus and soloists. I don't know. There's a lot of people who squeeze on stage.
That's barely any elbow room there on stage.
We did it years ago at the Bard Festival, which you had mentioned.
Yeah.
And it really is a masterpiece. He wrote it over a number of years. He stopped, started again, and it's really just an incredible piece of music that almost, I wouldn't say once in a lifetime opportunity to hear it, but certainly it's not performed very often.
Yeah.
It's too big a piece to perform.
I would say so.
And expensive.
Yeah. How many performances? Just one?
Just one performance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
And it's in March.
Gosh.
Yep.
That's amazing. See, that's the power of living in a world-class city like New York. Because I won't say it's the capital of music. What do you think is? I mean, there's so many different genres of music. Is New York the city of the capital of classical music in the country? What do you think?
I would say it's a big part of a classical music global community.
Yeah, because New York's very international. It's like a small country, right? International. Yeah. It's very international. But my point is rare are you going to get Kansas City doing 150 people on stage. No. That's what I'm going to say. And I love Kansas City folk, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, you need the right venue to do it in. You need, and the thing about New York City is that even though an orchestra like American Symphony Orchestra is a rostered member orchestra, you have to expand that size when you do a piece like Girl Leader, because it's the American Symphony is not an orchestra of 150, and the thing which is great about New York City is that there's a pool of musicians, of first class musicians to draw from.
Yeah.
So it's that's what
resource,
makes New
the
York
pool.
a really amazing cultural center, is that the talent that's here is extraordinary.
Yeah. And they're all 150 union musicians too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Local 802, shout out to you guys.
Local 802.
So anyway, check that out. American Symphony Orchestra, plug for you.
Yep.
And
I also do New York Pops, and we're having a concert in February. It's a great orchestra with a lot of actually classical and jazz musicians, brass players and wind players that cross over and play Broadway and play symphonic music.
Yeah.
And with New York Pops, we do our next concert is in February 9th, I believe. And every concert has big stars of Broadway, great,
Like yourself.
great talent. Yeah, well,
There you go.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, it's another, and that's
A
also
lot of, you get a lot of
Carnegie Hall.
Great American Songbook stuff that's
Yes,
arranged
yeah,
and things
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, we
right?
did concerts with Norm Lewis was the last Christmas concert that we did.
Sure.
We had a guest appearance by Vanessa Williams. This
Two
is what
wonderful.
happens in New York. So
Yeah, you had that talent literally living in the city, so it's
it's
very sweet.
It's really, and we had on the Saturday concert, we had doubles. Biden's press secretary was.
Well, I didn't know she sang.
She
Okay.
narrated. She narrated. She narrated the night before
I was gonna
Christmas.
say, it's like, was she an alto? I mean,
No,
I'm teasing.
no, she didn't sing.
Totally teasing.
But I heard that she does play drums. Isn't that
Oh
funny?
yeah? Well, there you go.
And
Give her
she
some mallets.
she did an amazing job, and it was a great piece of music, orchestra, and narrator. It was wonderful. So
Well, listeners, I think you're getting the gist here. Like, this guy is like the Swiss Army knife of Inwood bass players. He can do the pops, he can do the classical stuff, he can do the jazz, he can do pretty much anything. So, and Broadway, of course. So, I want you to catch him where you can in February with the Pops, this summer in Bryant Park, and hopefully we'll get him back here in some iteration with some group playing with Inwood Art Works again. We'd love to have that happen.
I'd love to do it again.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, we've always thrilled to have you perform. And before we say goodbye, we want to leave folks with another selection from your Jazz the Movie series because we have that available to us. So can you introduce this last one for us?
This was I Remember You from the movie The Fleet's Inn. And I Remember You became a huge, also jazz standard. You could find just about every great jazz performer has recorded this song. It's a great song. And
Yeah. Well, here we go. I Remember You. thank you, Lou, very much for being a guest here. We look forward to more great music ahead from you. And where can people go? You mentioned so many things. Do you have your own website or anything?
Yeah, we do. The BridgeportJazzTrio.com.
Yes.
And there's a lot of info there and a lot of photos going back to high school and to present time.
Very cool.
Of our group. It was fun to put that together, and I think it's a really nice website.
So check it out, folks. You have your marching orders, and we'll see what happens next. Do we have any gigs coming up next with the Bridgeport Jazz Trio?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
No.
All right. No. So they're available, folks. If you can grab them between gigs, playing with 150 of your closest musician friends, and Bryant Park. All right. Well, thank you again, Lou. It's been wonderful to have you here today.
It's been a pleasure.
You betcha. So thanks again to Lou Bruno for joining me on this Artist Spotlight edition of Inwood Art Works On Air. It's where I meet the musicians, filmmakers, writers, theater makers, and artists of all stripes that make their home here in Upper Manhattan. If you have a moment, please show some love right now and rate this podcast 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Many thanks to the Church of Good Shepherd for hosting us and to HideSites.com for uptown promotional support. You can support On Air and all of our programming here at Inwood Art Works by making a tax-free donation at inwoodartworks.nyc/donate or via Venmo. Be sure to follow us on social media to keep all that we do, which includes the Inwood Film Festival, Filmworks Al Fresco, live performances, pop-up art galleries, and so much more. Inwood Art Works On Air is proud to be supported in part by public funds from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the City Council. Inwood Art Works programming is made possible by the New York State Council on the Arts with the support of the Office of the Governor and the New York State Legislature. From the top of Manhattan and the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Aaron Sims for Inwood Art Works On Air.